All right. Here we go. Another episode of Freedom from Alcohol. It's good to be back with you guys. I'm Chris. This is Lauren. This is Matt. What's up, guys?
Hey, hey.
Hello, hello.
And today, what we want to talk about is the importance of journaling and just writing shit down. And we're going to share with you a method that we use and we have our clients do that if you're not, like, I don't know how to journal, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to write, which is exactly where I used to be. We're going to give you a simplified method because that works for me, right? Give me something exactly specific to do that takes all the guesswork out of it, and it really helps. So we're going to share that method with you in a little bit. But I want to talk about why journaling is important I think it's important in general throughout your whole life. It's really important to journal, but especially when you are wanting to quit drinking, when you're making a decision like this, it can be really, really helpful because think of all the thoughts that we have rolling around in our heads constantly. I think it's something like 60,000 thoughts a day or something that we have, right? So if you can get these thoughts out of your head and write them down, the impact that that can have is massive. Even if you never look back at what you wrote, just the art of taking them from your head, putting them on paper, or I mean, you can type them out. There is studies that have shown writing them down has a bigger impact. But look, if one way or another, if you're journaling, if you're writing what is in your head, you're getting it out, it's gonna help you. I guarantee it. And I used to be a person that I I would want to journal, but I didn't know what it would look like, and I would start writing, but I would judge what I was writing, and I would worry about puncture and grammar and all this kind of stuff, punctuation, I should say, and spelling, and so I just never really got into it. And there's an app out there that I'm going to recommend. It's called Penzu, Penzu. They're not paying us to say this or anything, but it's what I started using while I was still a drinker. And it's an app. You can use it on your phone, and it records everything that you're writing. And what's interesting is it'll show me what I wrote like 5, 6 years ago now, and I go, holy shit, that's where I was. That's what I was thinking about. Um, and at the time, I wasn't journaling necessarily just to stop drinking. I just needed a journal and I didn't know how to do it. So I started there. And it's really interesting to see how all of my journal entries talked about drinking, talked about alcohol, how it was affecting me. And I never really realized it. So that's a good way to start with that. But just the fact of writing down what you're thinking can be super impactful. So I want to go to you guys. I want to get your thoughts on journaling, what's helped you and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll come back and talk about the 4-2-1 method, which is what we have our clients do. So Lauren, for you, let's talk about journaling and how it's impacted your life.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. So, yes, I was one of those people, and I don't know if anybody else listening out there in the audience is like, "Oh my God, they're going to tell me to journal." Ugh, right? Yeah, I felt that way too. And I resisted it for years and years. Journal your feelings, blah, 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 get it on paper. And I was like, I'm absolutely not going to do that. And then I started working with you, Chris, and you told me about the 4-2-1 method. And I'm like, oh, that's super easy. So it just makes it where there's no guesswork. It's like, here's your checklist of things to do every day, and you can get it done in like 3 minutes. But if you just tell me to go journal, I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about. How many things should I write down? How long should it take? So that's what I love about the 4-2-1 method. But the other thing is by gratitude journaling daily, we start to be able to look for those small things that we are grateful for that we often would miss otherwise. So with our method, for instance, we're hoping to hit different items that we're grateful for every day in our journaling. And so instead of just saying every day, like, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for my kids, I'm grateful for my house, like, obviously we're all grateful for those, but that's a bit generic if we're writing that every day. So it gives us a really good opportunity to kind of scan through the hours in the last 24 hours and think, what am I grateful for? And maybe you had a really shitty last 2 days, but this is an opportunity to find, even in the shit, where's the rainbow? Where's the glitter? Where's the silver lining? Because something happened positive to you in those 2 days, even if they were pretty bad days. There's something going on that we can be grateful for. And the more you gratitude journal, the more you start to see those small moments and you become a little bit more aware of it. So that's what I love about it. And thank you, Chris, to introducing it to me, because now I'm a journaler, damn it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
For me, I use it as like a retention for like if I'm listening to a podcast or audiobook. I get a lot of times I'll be listening and I get, basically what it comes down to is I have a hard time remembering. Like I remember what a chapter or a certain segment of a book or a podcast makes me feel, but then my recall for it is kind of like, oh, what was that again? And where was that part? So I do a lot of like pausing and then writing down or paraphrasing my interpretation of something that I've heard that's really inspiring to me. So it's kind of like an inspiration journal, and it helps me retain, what I'm listening to as well. There's a stat, it's something like you retain 30% of what you hear, and then you retain 50% when you write it down. So it almost doubles just by writing it down. So if I'm at a conference like Chris, you're at a conference right now, and I'm not sure if this has been the same for you. To me, I look at it as journaling is note taking, even, right? So that's kind of how I use it. And perhaps they're separate things, but I use them as the same for that reason, just a retention thing. And then it's same as you mentioned, Chris, like going back through my journals, which I'm doing right now. We're getting ready to move, so I'm going through. Okay, yay or nay? Am I keeping some of this stuff? So I was going through all my piles of journals that I've had these last 4 years, and it's kind of cool just to go back and look where I was and look at by committing to something. Okay, this is where I want to be, like the future casting, so to speak, and looking at it and go, hey, like I've done all of this. You know what I mean? There's something powerful about pen to paper, committing to something, writing it down, getting it out of your head, getting it on paper that makes it real. And then to go back and go, I checked all of these boxes. So again, the clarity piece is there. And there's something just about committing it that, for me anyways, by writing it down, pen to paper. And it's really neat, really fascinating to go back and go, yeah, I've checked all of these boxes. Perhaps not exactly at the timeline I was hoping or expecting or whatever it would have been, but and then you learn some flexibility that way as well. So yeah, journaling I've been doing pretty close damn near every day since 2019. And I was a journaler before, but very sporadic, but I've been very consistent with it since 2019, which happens to be right when I started my alcohol-free journey this time around.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there with that word consistency, right? It's if you're going to journal here and there once in a while, it's not going to be as impactful if you put it into your day and make it part of your routine. Even if you just write a couple of things, it's going to be beneficial. And, I think even if you don't ever look at what you write again, the act of doing it is really, really beneficial. And the retention thing that you talked about there. What's interesting is I read something recently that we remember things at the beginning, like of a presentation, for instance, we remember the first part of it and the last part of it, but the shit in the middle, we really have a hard time retaining as a human. Does that make sense? When I read that, I'm like, holy shit, that is kind of true, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is why we keep these podcasts short. If this was an hour long, you may remember a few things from the beginning and a few things from the end, but all the shit in the middle, you're probably not going to remember, because as humans, we have a hard time digesting. Think of all the information, especially in this day and age, that goes through our brain. It's just, you're not going to be able to keep track of it all. And so that's why journaling does help, because you'll write things down that maybe you didn't even know you were thinking about. And it does help. I know there's studies that show this and that, writing it down, even if you never look at it again, like the impact that it has. But why this works is, if you can simplify it, right? If you can make it where it's not going to seem like a chore, like, oh God, I got to write and I'm just writing just to write. It's not going to be, you're not going to want to do that. So that's why we do something called the 4-2-1 method. And this is something I learned from Craig Beck. Like I completely ripped it off from him, because Craig Beck is a wonderful author. He wrote the book Alcohol Lied to Me, among other books. Honest to God, it's the Bible it was for me, it was for Lauren. I know Matt obviously has read it too, but I highly recommend getting the book Alcohol Lied to Me. But he has other books out there too. And one of the books, he talked about this 4-2-1 method, and I started doing it, and it changed my life. So here's how that works, right? So 4-2-1, you write down 4 things from the previous 24 hours that you're grateful for. And it goes back to what Lauren was saying. It's, becomes monotonous, the same thing. Well, I'm grateful for my spouse. I'm grateful for my kids. Those are kind of the obvious things. And if we're constantly writing all the same shit, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to keep writing all this. So it makes you kind of sit and go, okay, in the last 24 hours, what are 4 things that I'm grateful for? And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be the fact that you opened your eyes in the morning. It could be the fact that you saw a beautiful bird, a flower, the sun is shining. I don't give a shit what it is, but just writing that down and putting your lens on that gratitude thing, right? Because as drinkers, we get into this dark sort of headspace and everything kind of seems dark and it sucks. Gratitude is going to really change that. And so it's important that we put the emphasis on what am I grateful for, right? So you write down 4 things from the last 24 hours that you're grateful for. I made a wonderful omelet. Good, put it down. I don't care what it is. The 2 stands for 2 well wishes that you want to send to people in your world. You don't even have to know these people personally. Somebody that you know, maybe it's a brother-in-law who's going into the doctor to have a checkup or something and he's concerned. You just want to write down, hey, you know, Bill's going in to the doctor today. I hope everything goes well, sending well wishes to him. You know, whatever it is, just write that down in this 421 journal to 2 different people. And again, that doesn't have to be anything massive. Think of 2 people in your world that you want to send well wishes out to, write it down. And then the 1 is 1 ask from the universe for yourself. And it doesn't matter what this is, but it's important to give some love, send it out to the universe for other people, but then also for yourself. And so it can be, you know, the example I use in our video that we give to our clients is having a haircut today. I hope it goes well. You know, I don't care what it is. Write it down, ask the universe for something. Obviously, hey, I'm asking the universe to help me become alcohol free and make it not a struggle. You know, that can be one when you're starting early on, but it doesn't have to be these big, massive things. So that's the 421 method. And part of what works for it is go out and get yourself a really nice journal, like a notebook to write it in, get yourself a really nice pen and make it an experience. Make it something you look forward to. Don't just get any old notebook and any old pen. Anything you can do to enhance the experience is going to make you want to do it more. And consistency, like we were just talking about a minute ago, is going to go a long way. You know, you can do it once a week, you can do it a few times a month, but it's not going to have an impact. If you say, I'm going to do this every day, and you literally do it every day, you'll notice massive changes and you'll start to see things that you put well wishes out for other people. You'll start to see it happening. I remember one of the first things I did was I sent a well wish for my sister to get a promotion at her job. And literally a week and a half later, she sends me a text. I got the promotion. Yay. And like, it's really cool when you see some of that stuff happen and even stuff that you ask for yourself. Just being intentional about what you're writing too. You know, if you're going to just do it to just check the box, you might as well not do it. Right? Put intention into it. Feel it. When you're asking for these things, really, really think about what you want to have happen. And so that's the 421 method. You know, is there anything else like for you guys you want to add to this, just this topic in general?
I like the idea of, you know, the gratitude piece is like, I heard a really great quote. It's like anxiety cannot live in the same space as gratitude. So if you're waking up and you're feeling anxious in the morning about your day, if you start focusing on what you've been grateful for, it really just either dissipates or marginalizes or pushes away the anxiety. So, you know, when you're talking gratitude, just have that in mind. I like that quote.
Yeah, no doubt, right? I think about who I was as a drinker and who I am today. When I was a drinker, there wasn't a lot of gratitude. It was a lot of pissing and moaning and woe is me and everything is dark and sucks and I might as well drink. Man, if you're in that headspace, no wonder alcohol seems appealing to you. No wonder you want to numb out and check out. But when you can start really focusing on, holy shit, you know, I have freedom. Like I have people in my life that I care about, that I love. I have clothes that I'm wearing. You know, think about how free we are with all these things that we just take for granted sometimes. And when you're not thinking about it, it's easy to put those things on the back burner. But when you bring those things to the forefront of your mind and you go, holy shit, you know what? It is a beautiful day. Like I'm in Salt Lake City right now, as you mentioned, Matt. I've been at a conference the past couple of days. I've never been to Salt Lake City. I haven't seen a lot of mountains in my life. I'm looking outside of my hotel room right now at beautiful mountains. And you just look at things differently when you have this gratitude of, holy shit, like in America, it's such a beautiful place that you can start to look at things through that lens and it will change your life. It will help you start wanting to bring good things into your life instead of the negative, dark, hopelessness feeling that alcohol keeps us trapped in. So,
Right.
yeah, guys, journaling is super impactful. And whether you want to do this 421 method or you want to do something of your own, yeah, Lauren, go ahead. What do you have there?
Oh yeah, you can buy any journal you want in the universe, or you could support your girl Lauren Howman. And she put the 421 on Amazon. So when we put this up on wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, there'll be a link for you. It's $7.99. You can't beat it. It's all done for you. So you've got your 4 that you're grateful for, the 2 wishes for others, and you've got your ask of the universe. And I added something in there a little bit if you want to do it, but you don't have to. Keep it simple. What was better about today than yesterday, and what are you excited about for the future? And those are simple things. I did my gratitude journaling this morning, and I said I'm going to lunch at 1:30, 20 minutes after we get off this call, and I'm excited to see a friend. So shameless plug, go get it. The work's been done for you.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. So yeah, we will include the links, and if you, for whatever reason, don't see that, join our Facebook group, Freedom from Alcohol, and message one of us or whatever. We'll get you the link. We'll make sure you find it. It is on Amazon, right? So if I don't know
It
if,
is,
if
yeah.
somebody,
Yeah,
You just type in my name, Lauren Howman, or gratitude journal.
yeah. And
Yep.
the other thing too, real quick, that I want to talk about, like if you, let's say you start doing this 421 journal, or you journal like, here's what happened today, and all this kind of stuff, and you do keep that. And when you're older in your life and you have all of these things to look back on, to remember, because how much do we forget through our life? We go through it so fast, and you may forget, oh, this was a beautiful day that my daughter gave me a hug and it made me just well up, and I was so grateful for everything I had. How awesome will it be later in your life to look back at some of those entries and instantly recall those memories, instead of just letting life go by so fast and forgetting all this stuff? That's another reason why I think journaling and being grateful and writing these things down every day is really, really helpful and impactful. So yeah. All right. Awesome, guys. Good stuff. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting this podcast. We're always going to ask for your help. So, subscribe to this, leave us a 5-star review. If you can write something, that is even better. That'll push it out to more people. And we're here every Thursday with a new topic, a new episode. If there's something that you would love us to talk about, we're always open to talking about anything. So you can get in touch with us, send us an email, message us on Facebook, whatever, and let us know, because we'd love to know what you guys want us to talk about. So the best way to get in touch with us, so again, I mentioned the Facebook group. It's called Freedom from Alcohol, same name as the podcast. You can either just search for it or go to facebook.com/I-want-freedom-from-alcohol. You can go to my website, which is coachbychris.com, if you're interested in having a consultation call with me personally, talking about working with us, me, Lauren, and Matt. We have tremendous success with the clients that we work with in our Freedom from Alcohol coaching program. And to have that community, to have the guidance, the support, the tools, the resources, the accountability, man, it's gonna change your life. And if you've been thinking about it, if you've been listening to it for a while, to this podcast, and you go, yeah, you know what? I gotta take that next step. We'd love to have the conversation with you. So go ahead and get that started. Again, coachbychris.com is where you can find that information and get started there. I think that's it. Am I missing anything, guys?
You nailed it.
Right on.
I think
Okay.
so. I think we're good. Hope everybody got some value from it.
Yeah. I really do hope that you do get value from this. And if this is your first time listening to the podcast, go back and listen to some other episodes. I mean,
some great stuff.
There's a lot of good stuff. The three of us have all been in your shoes. We know what it's like to struggle with drinking and to be on the other side of it. And that's why we do this. So much love to everybody listening right now. Do the journal, get Lauren's 421 journal. There will be a link attached here, and start doing it. Take action right now. Don't put it off anymore. All right. That's what's going to get your life going where you want it to be. All right, guys, we will chat with you next week. Peace.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
y'all.